Today on the rural project we're laying down more road base, moving logs and getting the excavator stuck in the deep mud in the gully. Hey, good morning, welcome back to the rural project. So I'm back here at the land. Before we start, don't forget, click that like button, click the subscribe, ring the bell so that you get notifications of more videos when they get released. We've had a fair bit of rain during the week. So what I've decided to do is get the excavator. Since it's likely to rain, I can just sit in the cab out the weather, and then take this pile of dirt, the remaining road base, and spread it down Slippery Hill. And what I'll also try and do is, once I've got down there, I might see if I can pick up some of those logs, maybe nip them between the bucket and the dozer blade, and try and bring a log up at a time as well. I think there's 3 down there that I've put onto that landing area. Let's get this excavator fired up. Let's get a load of road base in the bucket and take it down the hill. First load of the day, back down the hill. Like I say, I'll try and get the excavator tracks over to a side and pack in that middle section. Head down there and see if I can pick up one of those big logs. That is the log I am talking about. Well, there are 3 logs there is what I should say, so I'll try and manoeuvre one of those around, get it up against the dozer blade at the front, and hopefully I can nip it there with a bucket and walk that up the hill. Every time I travel up and down the hill, I want to at least have a scoop of dirt in a bucket. I'll be moving a log or something, because yeah, it's a lot of traversing up and down the hill. I want to make sure that I actually utilise it every time. So let's see if I can get hold of this log, and I'll bring you back in a second. And anyway, we've got the first one. I've got it nipped up against the dozer blade. I'm not sure if it'll last the journey up the hill. Well, let's have a go. See how this works. This is going to get cut up really bad as I keep coming up and down here today, but it needs to be done. We'll see how we go. I'm going to now carry on maybe the next hour or so up and down this hill, dropping off the road base as we go, and picking up these logs and bringing them back up the hill with me, and I shall bring you back when I am just about done. Right, I have now pretty much cleared everything in that bay. It's better I grab a shovel and just finish this off. But I have put dirt all the way down the access road now, all the way down Slippery Hill. It's turned out really good, pretty happy with it. Hopefully you can see that now. It's right down the bottom there, and I'm not going to do all of the bottom there. Is literally the hill that I wanted to do. That was the intent of all this, and that's what we've achieved. So I've tracked this in a lot. It's as good as it's going to be. I will grab the shovel now and do a bit of a tidy up, and then I'll bring you back once that's finished. And there we have it. Ta-da! One tidied turning bay. So it's obviously all loose. I've not tracked this in. It is too wet to be tracking this. I'll just be squelching mud up through the road base. So I'll just leave this. Now, I just had a thought about those logs that are down in the gully. What I might do is drive the excavator down there and drive the excavator all the way along the gully, and see firstly whether I can get down there with the excavator, which I expect I can. And I might fill the bucket up with logs, bring it back, dump it onto the turning circle down there, down at the bottom of Slippery Hill, and repeat multiple times until that area is clear. And then at least I've got all of those logs out of all that mud and slop that's down there, and got them to a position where I can take a trailer down and load the trailer up and then bring the trailer back up Slippery Hill. Get all that wood back up here and get it booked and stacked. Get it split and stacked. Did manage to bring these logs up. It was a bit of a grueling task, very slow going, but we have got 4 large logs now, so when I get the log grab on at some point I'll get these cut up and we'll get those booked to length. Yeah, we'll get them booked to length and then bring the splitter to them and put them through the splitter and get them stacked ready for drying for next winter. Right, let's take this excavator down the hill and see how stuck I get. Let's try our way down this first little hill. So this is the one I had to winch the car all the way back up last week. We'll work our way down here and see how much of a mess I make and how stuck I get. So heading down here goes really well. Don't seem to have any issues with it whatsoever. The ground is really wet and slippery, but yeah, I'm able to traverse down quite easily. Start working my way along the gully and do a little bit of a tidy up as I go along. But as soon as I hit the first very slight uphill section to dig me out of the ruts that I put in there from last week, I get absolutely stuck, and then as you can see here, I need to get the bucket buried in the dirt and start dragging myself out. But every time I come to lift the bucket out, I just slide backwards again. I do eventually get out, but it certainly takes a little bit of effort, and it makes an awful mess. Well, that was harder than I was expecting. Same thing, if you had smelly vision, you'd be holding your nose right now, it stinks. But I made it. It has now started to rain though, or just light rain, but it said it would rain more today. So what I'm going to do now, load the bucket up. And then I'm hoping, so what I can do is I can load this bucket, go halfway back along this track and then lean right over onto the turning circle and drop the bucket load on there so I don't have to keep going all the way out of this gully. That's the plan, that's the idea. We shall see how we go. Well, we're certainly not going to fit much in this bucket. Need to get my thinking hat on. Come up with another way of taking loads of this out easy at a time using the excavator. Let's have a think. Just adjust this bucket a little bit so I can get a bit more wood on it. There's going to be a lot of trips if I try and do this just using this bucket. Some of these logs here, I'll only fit 2 logs in and that'll be the bucket filled, so this as an idea isn't going to work. I need to come up with some other idea. I'm down here, I'm going to take a couple more loads out, and I'm going to have the thinking hat on and see what I can come up with as an idea. I've got a bit of an idea. It involves the excavator, it involves a welder, but it involves a trailer. I'll have to have a bit more of a think about it, see how I can make that work. I'll soon know when I try and get out of here if it's actually possible to drive out. But let's grab a couple more loads and then we'll go do another job. So I now try to drive back up the gully to the wood pile, and as you can see, all that's happening is I'm literally sinking through the crust and getting myself well and truly into the sloppy mud, getting well and truly stuck. A lot of wheel spinning or track spinning with the excavator. It's certainly a struggle. Well, as you saw there, I was sinking pretty deep, so I will fill this bucket and then I will not be coming back down here again until I'm doing something different, such as bringing a log grab down and working my way through the logs at the end there without traversing backwards and forwards all the time. That is an option. When you look at this, this is how much I was sinking. Yeah, it was about 18 inches deep that I was sinking, so that's a fair old depth, and then it started to grind on the belly pan was catching on the floor then, so I need to, yeah, like I say, take this last load, get out of here and think of something else to do for today. So I think what I'm going to do is take all this kindling, all the stuff that was come from pallets originally, pallets and some of the fencing panels that I never used. All of this stuff that's in the woodshed. I'm going to take that, throw that in the small trailer that I've got with me. It's my 6x4 trailer, and all of that's going to get stored in the shed. Bottom line is this is it's taking up, it's kindling. I don't use a huge amount of it, to be honest, and I see that it's just taking up space here that could be used for firewood, drying out firewood. So I think I'll fill the trailer up with this stuff. I will also put 1 cubic metre of dry wood in the back of the ute, and I'll be delivering that on the way home tonight. Do you ever start one of them jobs and as soon as you've started you think, that's not a good idea? That was way bigger than I was expecting. Made a tiny dint in that kindling. My trailer's not far off full. So I think the idea of just moving the kindling is not a good idea at all, especially when you look down here. The whole bottom row, or bottom 2 rows, They're very neatly stacked. There's masses and masses of kindling in there. I'll take up to the shed the stuff that I've put in a trailer. I'll just back the car up a little bit more, and I'll load the back of the ute up with 1 cubic metre of wood, and then we'll head up the hill. Right, I am calling it for today. So I've loaded the back of the ute up. So that is a cubic metre loaded into the back of the ute. So it's 1.7 wide, 1 metre deep, 600 high. A little bit of a slope on it to the edges, so the middle is actually higher than 600. So there is a metre. Oh, very interesting day today. So obviously moved a bit of dirt around. Tried to get down to see those logs and bring them all back, but wasn't successful. It's going to be a struggle, this. Can't get down there with the excavator. None of my, my 4-wheel drive's not going to get down there again, definitely not. So I'm going to have a think, see whether I leave all the logs, or leave the wood that's still standing. It's the stuff that's still standing, to be honest, that I wanted to really get into, or whether I grab the excavator and walk it down there, put the log grab on, and just basically spend the time, dropping the trees and putting them into a neat stack, so that come summer next year I can go and grab them. But I really wanted to get them this year and get them put into the wood pile and get them all dried for next winter. That really was my plan. But yeah, all good plans get stuffed up by somebody or something at some point or other. Right, I'll head off now, and I will catch you next time. Don't forget, if you've enjoyed it, click that like and subscribe button. Till next time, thanks for watching.